So here we are again on the back of a London bus, and this time I'm going to share with you a story about a true Rat Pack legend, a Las Vegas king that is possibly not as well known as the likes of Frank Sinatra, Joey Bishop, Peter Lawford, and of course the brilliant Dean Martin. But nonetheless, he was part and parcel of that wonderful set in the early 1960s, late 50s that really knew how to party and set, of course, Las Vegas alight. What's interesting about this particular story, though, is I got to know the brilliant jazz musician Buddy Greco for many years, and of course he told me many famous stories, perhaps of course now most associated with the fact that he was in the very last pictures taken in public of the late and beautiful sex symbol Marilyn Monroe at the famous Calnava Lodge. Yes, remember those pictures. Buddy's theories were incredible, but of course even he seemed rather nervous to reveal too much about exactly what went on in that ill-fated weekend. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because Buddy, you see, like so many American entertainers, wanted to be part and parcel of entertaining our wonderful monarchy. And so way back in 1963, he finally got the call. Now, according to him, the call came really because originally Bernard Delfont and the producer Robert Nesbitt were looking to secure the likes of Frank Sinatra, naturally. But when they couldn't get Frank, who was busy out in Las Vegas, they thought, well, Buddy Greco's available, why not? Now, two things that Buddy told me about this particular sort of story was what I found fascinating. He felt that his only real competition in the American market would have been, of course, the very glamorous Hollywood star Marlene Dietrich, and that was true at the point of booking. Nobody else was down for that, and he thought, well, you know, that's kind of good. There's a lot of talented English stars, including Tommy Steele and Max Bygraves, and Tommy Steele has backed this particular story up. So of course everything was going very well, they agreed and all that sort of stuff, and suddenly Buddy thought he was going to be appearing in front of the Queen. Don't know quite how. He said he figured it must be the Queen because who else would be attending? Now, the problem was, on that very big night and in the intermission period of Buddy signing to agree to appear in front of royalty, well, Bernard Delfont had a bit of a light bulb moment, and all thanks to his very young family at the time, he decided to invite on, not as his insistence, but in fact the fact that they were now really big, none other than the Beatles. And as Buddy pointed out to me, that was him kaput. You see, with the Beatles on the bill, who else was going to remember anything, including the Hollywood legend Marlene Dietrich? And he said, and to top it all, really on the top of that, he thought he was going to be meeting Her Majesty the Queen. He said, a definite wish list, you know. And he said, now, I have to say the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret were absolutely delightful. He said, but trying to go back to Las Vegas and tell everybody, well, no, it wasn't actually the Queen, and no, I wasn't the only American, and no, I wasn't quite top of the bill. He said, really left a, shall we say, indelible stain on his career sheet. Of course, he became a favourite with the British monarchy, having been asked to appear again. But more importantly for Buddy Greco, as I said, it's funny when you look back at the tapes and the pictures and stuff and the stories that they tell you, because at the time you think, oh right, yes, and then you realise, of course, that everybody in that particular era came with an ego. And apparently Frank Sinatra said, so how was it? And he said, oh, it was great, yeah, wonderful. He said, I hear the Beatles stole the show. And that is exactly how they ribbed Buddy on stage in Las Vegas, along with all the greats like Sammy, Dean and Peter Lawford and the rest, Joey Bishop, for many years to come, until of course he got another invite back. Neil Sean in the very heart of London on the back of a big red London bus.